Everybody, welcome back to the Python show, and now I'm calling this that. And today I won't be going to code, but I'm going to go to one thing we call dictionaries. And dictionaries are basically the thing I showed last time. So for moduling per se, a code. So to make various modules you can put, and I'm gonna explain what a dictionary is. Basically, the dictionary is a basically list that defines, and the difference between lists and dictionaries is basically that a dictionary lets you just type a word to say, and this word will represent something bigger, something much bigger because it's bread and butter. And a list is a type of variable. So what do I mean by this? A list is a kind of variable that stores lots of different information in itself, and the information is different from one another. So if I have a list with 10 items that represents items, for example, cell phones. So I have the ID, the specifics of the phone, yada yada. A list would store this, and the list would store these informations in separate. So for example, I have a list that is cell phones, and this list will contain IDs, or at least can contain IDs, can contain sorry for the movement, can contain IDs, can contain numbers, can contain well, basically anything you want, especially if you take your time and you make the list very organized. You can put extremely long quantity of list information in one list, especially since you just add more appendix, and you can pinpoint exactly one inside a list, and it's extremely important. As for example, I have my one of my last codes here. Actually, my last code does this. As you can see, it is all here list. For example, here it's a list. I'm defining a list. Wait, sorry there. Okay, so here defining a list. For example, format one. Let's say, for example, let's do this. What it did here is that it turned what I put my inputs A1A. Here it's from one item, and turn this information into different parts of the same list. Not same as a list exactly, but a full list. So you can see here, I think it's here. Oh, here. You can see that, for example, it's making this part of the list, so I can just much easier define code. Basically, I can define a code, but define information inside that list, so much easier. And the big difference between this and a dictionary is a dictionary looks like a list, but it's not a list. The reason being is that the definition. Basically, imagine a dictionary, but it's like a digital dictionary, as where you can just type something, for example, the letter S, and you appear everything with the letter S. It's not exactly bad. Well, let me explain. A dictionary is when you turn things into definition. So I have, for example, here my definitions that makes inside the main module. You can see that these things, for example, exhibiting a title, which is show inventory, basically, is basically a part of the dictionary. My dictionary, it's here, and what I dictionary is that I'm turning my code inside. I'm defining code into a simple word, which you can see, for example, show inventory, fill inventory. All those are in fact simple definitions. and I'm defining the code inside of them as here. So just here, and I can call this code, all of this code, by just typing its definition. So for example, here in my main module, as we saw in the last video, I'll check it out. You can see that, well, by just putting one thing here, for example here, fill inventory, I am basically conjuring all of this code here. So I didn't type it. And the best part of this is that not just is much easier because you make the code much shorter, and you also can usually provide much easier code. Here, the best part is that by defining code, I'm making a lot of definitions inside the code. Every time we need to change, for example, here I want to change here what's written here, for example. So let's say I want to put this in English. All I can do, or all I need to do in fact, is just change here, and every time inside my code I use this, it will be what I just wrote, and I don't need to go line by line inside my code to do it. And so basically, lists are basically almost a type of variable that store long strings of information, and you can divide the information, so you can have various dependents inside the list, or yeah, basically this. And the dictionary is what we call when we define a lot of things, or not a lot of things, but we define code into a word, and the construction of the defining codes are called the dictionary. So pretty much it. And well, that's it for today. Have a nice day and a nice week learning Python. Goodbye. Whoop.